Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Trek YT here, or Nick, back with another episode of Base Showcase. This is episode 10, and this is going to be a special edition. It's not going to be a base, but it's going to be how I go about creating. So basically the basics of designing the interior. It's not going to be too in-depth. It's basically only going to be for those people that still struggle with making a semi-good-looking base. So this is some pointers and some, I guess, starting off points that I normally do when I start building a base, and then from there it'll be your creativity. So without further ado, guys, let's jump right into this video. So first things first, you have to take into account what you're using this base for. Sometimes people use it for farmable items, some people use it for grinders, some people just use it for chest storage. And one thing you need to know if you are new to factions or new to base building is when you have a trap chest and a regular chest, they can go together. It's pretty basic knowledge, but I just wanted to reiterate that. Another thing is you have to think in, do you want protected chest or do you want unprotected chest? So normally the unprotected chest is like a drop chest, and this is like an anti-raidable chest. So these are like the, I guess, a couple things you have to take in mind when you're building your base. So first things first, when I normally build a base, I normally have chests. Normally my chests are protected. This isn't I guess a flaw. This is probably a flawed way of protecting chests, but this is a basic, I guess, way of protecting chests. This is like the most basic way of protecting chests. You throw some glowstone or some block on top of some chests covered in some water. So what I normally like to do is I normally like to have it encased. I normally set it back one, or I throw down like pressure plates right here. So when I'm doing this, I normally take some of the I guess a wood log or some sort of block that acts as a pillar, and I create pillars on the side and I put the chest behind that. That's the main thing I do. And then once you start putting it together, then you can start adding some more details. So you can add something and it'll get something like this, and it's sort of an arc. So let's talk about making arcs. So making arcs, it's pretty easy when you're making an arc, just to add that little bit more detail when you're creating like an arc over your chest space. So what you're going to need is a stair and a slab. Those are the main blocks that you normally are going to need for an arc. So basically what I normally start doing is I start off normally with a stair, and then I make it gradually. So I go from stair to slab to slab. So that kind of creates this little arc that you can kind of see, and just adds that little bit more depth, and I guess that little bit more detail that you're not going to get with a straight across, I guess, platform or something. So once you have your arc, then you can get into an additional arc. I like to get the next arc to be super crazy and super detailed. I throw another arc one block out, and then it creates sort of this like effect of it protruding out. So this looks really cool, and I also like to mix in a lot of blocks. So I guess this is some blocks that go really good together. If you mix some wood and then some cobblestone together in different colors of logs, that also works really well together. So these are just a couple of block combos that work well together. Side note, guys, leave down in the comment section below really quick, would you guys like a video basically going over a lot of color combos or block combos that work well together? I could think of like a ton of them and say like, I don't know how many I would do. This is just an example, like 50 block combos or something like that. I don't know, something pretty crazy that would help out a lot of people, not just people that are subscribed to my channel now, but maybe people that would be additionally subscribed to the channel in the future. So coming back from that tangent, basically once you have a first design, what I normally like to do is I like to go ahead and I like to copy it several times. And what I did in this, I left a little gap and I put in a little detail in between just to break up the symmetry a little bit, and I put two like fake little trees. This isn't a finished base, but this could almost like continue a huge tree, and maybe I can even put like a ledge on top or something like that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna want to then start repeating these, and once you start repeating them, they start looking really cool, and it's really nice to finally get some blocks down. Once you have several of these little cubbies full of chests, they start to really come together, and it really makes your base start to look like a really good looking base. Because if let's say I had here, here, and here, and then I could rotate that again and put one right there, that would look amazing, and it would start to come together and feel like a base that would be functional. Another thing that you can start doing is just to change up a little bit of the, I guess, symmetry, is having one small little cubby in the center, one really big cubby in the center, and then another one on the right side. So basically this is just another way of mixing things up, just breaking up the symmetry a little bit. This is just something I really like to do when I do chests. I like to try to keep the symmetry there, but at the same time mix it up just a little bit. This looks really cool when you have a smaller one on one side. This is like a focal point. This could be like where the main stuff is, and then the other side there isn't. So basically I do small, big, then small again. So that's another tip that you guys can do when you're building just your chest storage or something like that. That looks really cool. And also what you could do is you always just, again, copy all of this, rotate it on that side, and that side, and have a bunch of sides full of that. So the next thing you're gonna have to worry about, so basically other thing that you can use is a grinder, maybe you have an automatic farm. And so normally you don't really showcase those, but you can potentially do that, as in my episode, I think like 6 or something, that I did one for, I guess, Pizza Hut. It was like a little quick design that I did, a base showcase, and I had big windows showing the, I guess, the spawners or whatever. But most of the time you're gonna focus on how you're gonna decorate the storage, because normally the focal point is not the actual spawners themselves, unless you want to showcase how many you have. So there's two main ways that you can, I guess, have storage. You can have just a vertical storage. Basically how this works is items will come down through this hopper, this chest will fill up, and once this chest fill up, it'll fill this chest up, and then once this one chest up, that'll fill up, and that one will fill up, instead of just going all to the bottom like this one. This one, every item goes in this, then comes into this chest and goes down this hopper, and then it goes all the way down to here, and then this is where the items will go. So there's two separate ways you can do this. You can decorate these in several ways, but a way that I really like to do is I like to do the encasing method. This is exactly the same thing as the chest thing, except it's not. It's just with, I guess, chest storage. So it's more chest storage basically, but this time you have the hoppers in the back, if you can see back there. So basically it's the exact same thing. I really like to do in bases, since most bases are normally symmetrical. If you're gonna start off basic, most bases are gonna be symmetrical, so I like to try to keep little cubbies and then just repeat them over and over again, because that looks really clean and nice. So I like to do that a lot. Our last idea is more of a concept. This is more of something that I guess is not really, I guess, explainable in building. I mean, yes, I could teach you how to build it, but basically it's more of a concept. So basically in most bases, I like to have a center point in the base, something where you can set your F home or set your home in the base. So it's maybe, I guess it's not really designed, or it is designed. It's more of like, this is the center home. Basically, you can just recognize this is the center. So in all these bases that I've just, I guess, panned through right now, you're going to see that there's always like kind of a designated space that looks like the center of the base. It's really the focal point of the base. So that is just another idea that I think is a really good idea to have, is to have a focal point in the base. Something that really is just the thing that captivates everyone's attention right in the center with all the details around it. And then it's just right in the center. And it's like, boom, that's what the center of the base is. So that's another idea that I really like to do. And so that's basically all that I got for some tips for building your bases. In the next episode we'll be back to normal and we'll have a base. If you guys did enjoy today's episode, it's a little different. I just want to try to mix something up for episode 10, since it's sort of like a little special episode. I'm not exactly sure. So in the next episode, we'll definitely be back to building another faction base and actually showing it off. I just wanted to teach some people the basics to building bases and how I go about starting it. And then once I do all these basic things, like I put in all these chest cubbies and all that stuff, that's when I start to get a little bit more organic and put in stuff that's not necessarily functional for the base. So that's all I really got today, guys. If you guys did enjoy this video, again, just drop a like on this video. It helps out a ton. And we're about to hit 1.4k subscribers, and that's so much closer to 1.5. I don't know. I'm really hoping that I can hit 2k subscribers in the next month or so. So that would be amazing. So thank you guys so much for the continued support. And as always, guys, I love you all. See you guys later. Peace out.